Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Let me tell you about this necklace that I'm wearing, which I was wearing in the previous video as well. I made it myself. It's made of different kinds of colors of clay. Can you see? Yeah, I love making stuff. Like, I love altering my clothes and upcycling them. I like making things. I like making videos. Why do I like making things? Because then I get to have something that is unique that nobody else has. Isn't that awesome? So for today's episode, I'm gonna share with you some silly things that I did, which are seriously very silly. Happened at this time where we were having the haze over here. So there was some forest fires, and then there was smoke that the wind blew across to Singapore, and the air quality was not great. There were many people who were talking about it and having like respiratory issues. And I met up with a friend. You're wondering why that's funny. Okay. So I met up with this friend and we were talking about the haze and how it was causing a lot of people some problems. And I said, actually, I seem to be okay. I noticed that the air quality is not as good as what it should be. But I'm not really impacted that much. And he said, no, he was really having like, difficulty breathing and getting this persistent cough. So what he did was he bought an air purifier to deal with the situation. And anyway, he said that, I said, oh my goodness, you just reminded me I have an air purifier at home. I have forgotten about it. And guess what? It's not even like in storage, in a storeroom. It's right there. I see it every day. I just totally forgot that I own an air purifier. So then after that, yes, I went home and switched it on and I've been using it. I need to tell you this very, very embarrassing story that happened to me when I was small. And in fact, it's so embarrassing. I never told anybody about it until 2 years ago. It happened when I was around 5, maybe 7 years old. And I remember we were in the airport. There was me, my mother, and my sister. And we were waiting to fetch my father, who was supposed to be arriving. So I was just running around minding my own business as a kid. And this Japanese man came up to me and stopped me and asked me Nihonjin, which in Japanese means are you a Japanese person? And I panicked. Why? Because when I was small, Jin was the name that they used to call me. And then I was so scared. I ran back to my mother and I asked her, how does that guy know my name? And she said, what happened? Tell me what happened. And I explained to her what happened. And she just burst out laughing because because obviously the man didn't know my name. He was just speaking to me in Japanese. And then I got so embarrassed. And then to make it worse, she went around telling all our friends and relatives about this hilarious story. And every time she repeated it, I felt more and more stupid. So, so that was this other silly, silly thing that I did a few weeks ago. I rented a car, one of those car sharing that you can use for a few hours, because I wanted to run some errands that day. And I parked in the public lot. So I was looking at the signboard for the app, the car park lot number on the app so that I could pay for the parking and and it started to drizzle. So I was trying to not get very wet in the rain, but at the same time looking at the signboard and then keying on my phone and then trying not to get my phone wet in the drizzle and also trying to look at the car plate number because it was a car that was unfamiliar to me. And I didn't realize that I was actually standing in the lane next to the car park lots. So there was this driver who came along. Luckily, he was so patient and he just waited for me. And then he honked. I didn't notice him. He waited for me to notice him. I didn't notice him. So he honked gently. And I said, oh, okay, sorry, let me get out of his way. And I continued staring at the signboard, trying to figure out, like, find this car park lot where I am according to this name. And then this guy, he drove closer to me and he stopped and he wound down the window and he said, today is a Sunday, you don't have to pay parking on a Sunday. I said, oh my gosh, okay, thank you very much. So, so I could have saved myself a whole bunch of time. I could have not gotten my phone wet and not gotten almost run over. And I just remembered that firstly, it's a Sunday and you don't need to pay parking on Sundays in certain lots. Yes, so that was me sharing how silly I can be sometimes. So why am I sharing that? Because we will do silly things from time to time. And previously, I would be so. I hated doing silly things, even if they're totally on accident by accident. I could not be with like, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. And now I'm getting used to, okay, it's just something silly, and it gives me something to laugh at, and it gives you something to laugh at. It gives me material for my channel. and it's just a way that I can share that we don't need to be perfect. We are not perfect. I spent too long thinking that I need to be perfect in life, and I can just accept me. I do silly things from time to time, and then sharing it with you has you laugh. So thank you for watching, and thank you for laughing along with me. And I'm sharing this because hey, it's okay to be silly. So see you next week. Thank you very much. Bye bye.